Do you think that had some influence as to why you take so many risks and why you try so many things, is that you want to do the most out of your life?
I always say that I want to do business where it makes an impact. So I definitely, hands down, that's why we got into the memory care business. Even with real estate, people think of it, investors, as the bad guys or whatever, but in reality, we're finding solutions for the sellers to be able to get out of the situation that they're in. The guy who we just bought his house, he wants to move, so we're finding a solution, and we found it, so we're bridging that gap to be able to help the community through real estate, which is why I love real estate.
Welcome to your podcast.
Yeah.
Or a little practice, right?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're learning.
Yeah. Well, you guys have been doing a lot of really risky things. Can you tell me about, like, you guys you both left your job, which you ended up finding out after the fact that Scott left his job. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you left your 9-to-5s and what you're doing?
So at WealthCon, I was urging her to quit before WealthCon.
Mm-hmm.
I think WealthCon was like the final push. I already had in my mind that I was going to take a leave of absence.
Okay. Oh, so you didn't quit. You took a leave of absence. But it's essentially kind of the same
But
thing
my
for a
time is-
year.
Well, not. They said, I think, like up to 2 months. That time is coming up.
Oh.
So I have to decide whether I want to go back or not.
Oh, so you still haven't decided if you're going to leave.
I'm leaning towards not going back.
Yeah, he doesn't want to go back.
Okay. Let's explore that a little bit. Why? What are you guys doing? What do you mean? Like, so
I'm a
you
nurse.
left because
From COVID, I just got tired of it. It was just like I went to New York, Texas. I was working like 6 days a week, and it was just like nonstop. And so after that, I lost my motivation too. Like we're just doing that every day for like a year. So I think I need to pull back on that stuff and focus on what we're doing.
So you're a nurse, you said? For how long? How long have you been a nurse?
About 5, almost 6 years.
Okay, so you were through COVID. How was that?
It was okay.
This is
that's-
scary?
I always say stuff like that. I really just wanted to see what it was like.
Yeah. During the time, it was scary because, the uncertainty, and it was just like crazy, scary. But that turned him into our sugar daddy. So
So were you were both working through COVID, or were you not working?
yeah, I was at the time during COVID. I was working at Zappos, and I was there for 7 years.
So you worked at Zappos, and then you did what?
So that I decided to quit because he came back from all his deployments, and we had enough cushion for me to quit. So we were able to focus on our live-in flip that we had. So I helped our contractor build out the banana bungalow, which is our midterm rental, which is our attached casita. And so I was able to do that. And after that project was done, I was bored. So he put me on a budget. And I was like, hell no, I can't go on a budget. I need my own money, I'm an independent woman. So I decided to look for a job, and I found one that was right up my alley. It was working with an investor from California, and he was looking for someone to co-host his properties and stage them. I was like, what? This is like a dream job, So I went for the interview, got it, and I was doing about 15 rental properties for him. It was ranging from short-term, mid-term, and long-term. And during WealthCon, I actually was deciding, like, should I quit? Should I stay? And he kept telling me to quit because he wanted me to focus on our own portfolio.
Okay.
So I was working for him for 7 months, and then I decided to put in my 2 weeks notice right after, I think right after WealthCon, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So WealthCon, was this the first convention that you guys went to together? Or, what led up to WealthCon for you guys to come to WealthCon? How did you know about WealthCon?
Yeah.
We actually went to Limitless, which is
Yeah.
like by Kiyosaki and all them people.
Mhm.
Like Brandon Turner
Turner.
was there too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that kind of like got me motivated. And that was how long before?
That was like
WealthCon?
a month before WealthCon. And during that time when we were at Limitless, we were in escrow to sell our memory care home. And I said, at Limitless, we're like on fire because you know, you go to all these conventions and people are giving you all these motivation and stuff like that. So I said, you know what? I remember it was in Arizona. I was like, if our memory care home sells, we're going to go to WealthCon, you know? So.
And boom, it sold.
Yeah, it sold. And then we ended up like got tickets and yeah, so we're excited.
That's awesome. So going back a little bit, just so we kind of give an introduction as to like how you got into this real estate investment game. Can you give us a little bit insight as to where you got started, how you got started, and with what? So your memory care home is where you started, right?
It started there. I met a friend through church. We became business partners and we opened up that group home. And real estate was always like on our mind. Well, since like what? Since
2016, because when we started listening to Bigger Pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when we just started listening. We would just listen to podcasts and stuff.
He would purposely listen to podcasts because I remember he would be in the other room and then he would replay it and I was in the room and you know what I mean? So he wanted me to like listen to the
specific
podcast.
things.
Yeah, to specific things. And because I wasn't into real estate, I wasn't into podcasts, and he would just come into the room. So happenly, it's like about a subject where this couple was trying to build their portfolio. And so I was like, ooh, that's actually really good. So it got me super intrigued to like listen to it. And that's where our fire for real estate really started.
I didn't know how long she knew that.
So you were secretly brainwashing her and
Yeah.
she like caught on. Wow, that's just like.
She said something after a while.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
She caught on. She was like, hey, I see you doing this. Like, what's going on? Okay, so you listened, well, you read Deeper Pockets, right? It's a book. Bigger Pockets, sorry.
Yeah.
The podcast, that led you to the conventions. And then after the conventions at WealthCon, you decided this is where you made the decision that you were going to go full force, head on into quitting your jobs. And then what are you doing right now?
Yeah, well, actually, so we were already kind of into real estate. So we were living in a townhome and we did an accidental live-in flip. So we bought it really cheap and then we put in, I don't know how much, like
I don't remember.
30,000, I think. And then in renovations, it took us like 2 years to renovate it because we were living in it. And then, so we sold that and we made a nice profit on it. Then we bought another house to do another live-in flip. And with the profits that we made from the townhome, we went into
The group home.
the group home and then
On
also
the
the 24.
multifamily.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, we're all over the place. But yeah, we went in onto a multifamily syndication and we did a 24 unit with Alex Felice. We met him through Bigger Pockets and he actually works, he's like the content director for Brandon Turner. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, he's like the friend, the homie, you know. So he helped us.
good.
He helped us like, you know, get our real estate investments going.
Good.
Yeah, because then we did 2 more or total of 3 syndications with him.
So you guys bought into AllState or AllStar, Allstate. AllState. You guys bought into AllStar. How has that journey been? Let's kind of go back a little bit.
So at first it was like,
I was so excited, and then like all these courses and daily calls, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many things I can do, you know. So I was like a kid in a candy store, like trying to like figure out my like what niche I want to go into, because during the AllStar program, you guys provide so much like areas that investors or resources, so it's really cool to see how helpful the community is. And so I've been going on to the pro host calls a lot because I want to dig more into Airbnb, and then also the Bolko Brothers on Mondays, and then the creative calls. So it's just, there's a lot. And I'm grateful that our accountability coach is Brian Davila, because he's like the
master.
OG. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like, wow, really grateful that we were partnered with him to be our accountability group.
Awesome. And so with AllStar, can you explain a little bit about what you've been doing with AllStar, and then maybe like, I don't know, did you get a deal from AllStar? How has the program helped you?
So we were originally looking to do flips,
Okay.
but I I don't feel too comfortable with the market. Like unless it's like a great deal, then I'd feel comfortable taking that. So we're kind of looking at like wholesaling and getting like creative deals because I've been like I haven't really done much of that stuff, but I have a good understanding of it. I feel it's just I need some experience, but I know we have the resources here to help us if we need. So that's the biggest thing from AllStar that I don't even know what you asked. I'll tell you the truth because I just want to
Like, well, talk about our deals that we're
Your deals,
Okay.
yeah, your deals. What deals have you gotten so far?
So there's a house right across the street from us.
From the care home.
Well, yeah, that.
Oh, that. Okay, sorry. There's 2 houses across the street.
So
Okay.
actually, the care home we sold, there was a house across the street, and our uncle, he's like a business partner. He just happened to borrow the neighbor's trash can, and because we had a bunch of crap we needed to throw away, and so I guess he let us borrow it, and then the neighbor talked to him, and he was gonna sell. It wasn't as good as of a deal we thought it would be, but
Okay.
we're still gonna make a couple, probably around 10,000 off of it.
Okay.
So it was actually going to be a deal for us to flip. So it was going to be our first flip we were going to do with the Parox. And the Parox is our business partners in the real estate deal and also with our memory care home. So we just went into business again. Just a different
okay.
business. Yeah. So it didn't work out because the seller decided to mark it up 10,000 more.
No, 20.
Or 20? Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. See, so it's like,
Yeah.
dang, it didn't work out with the amount calculator that the AllStar program provides. So we didn't want the deal to die. So I was like, dude, let's freaking wholesale this to my boss or my old boss, you know. And it just so happened it worked for his portfolio. And so
Wow.
it's in escrow right now. It's supposed to close the end of this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So you kind of had to quickly pivot and kind of figure out what the best solution was for this deal.
Yeah.
Like that's some pretty quick thinking. And what would you recommend somebody starting off to not make that kind of mistake, you know, for them to quickly have to pivot? What would you have done differently as far as trying to figure out what those numbers were, or maybe somebody coming into this game, what to avoid that?
So I'm thinking, you know, this was like our first, I guess, encounter with a seller, and I think if we took him up like on his initial offer, which was like 275, and we knew like that was a pretty decent deal, we felt comfortable with that. But as time went on, we kind of like we tried to go lower, and then he got upset once he talked to a realtor that he knew, and he was like, "Oh, my house is worth this much," and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And he knew what he was talking about, so
Yeah.
he's a smart guy. But that was the biggest mistake I would have done. And just always realize, like, the deal's not over until there's no time. Like, the seller doesn't want anything to do with you. You can always think of ways on how can I wholesale this? Can I do creative? Does this work for a flip? Just looking at different avenues on if it'll work for
Yeah,
an
we're
investment.
just trying to find solutions for both parties to be able to win in that situation. So we even pitched subject to, which is taking over the loan, but he didn't have a loan. It was actually, I think, paid off,
It's
right?
free and clear, yeah.
Yeah. So then we decided, which to seller financing, and then
Owner will carry.
or owner will carry, and then we even tried to see if he wants to do an ovation, right?
Yeah.
He rejected all of those. He was like, he wants traditional on the MLS type of deal. So we had to go that route and hire our uncle.
Which lives in Pahrump, right?
Huh? No,
No.
he lives out here.
Oh,
Yeah,
he lives
yeah,
out here?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, because I saw you guys go to Pahrump, and I
Oh,
thought
no,
that
that's
was...
another story.
So now you've quit your jobs, but you guys own a mini farm, so that's a full-time job. You guys have chickens, and now you guys are breeders as well. Like, you guys do it all. You guys are jack of all trades.
Takes up a lot of time. I didn't realize the time commitment for the animals.
Yeah, it's a passion of
It's a
mine.
whole-
I actually really enjoy it. So I don't mind picking out bird poop or tortoise poop. I mean,
That's why she does it. I let her do it.
it's you know, it is what it is, but it's just a part of life. And I always wanted to live that life of like having it being sustainable. So I'm learning how to like take care of the eggs or like all that stuff, or even how to raise chickens. And I'm incubating eggs right now, so I'm like, I don't even know if they're fertile, but I'm learning. I'm like learning as we go. So yeah.
So you literally dive headfirst into everything.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
how I roll. You just got to go with the flow, I guess.
So you dived into AllStar. You dived into the real estate game. You've dived into podcasting, raising chickens, and breeding dogs.
Yeah.
That is a lot to dive into.
And taking care of 2 teenage boys, so it's like, holy moly.
Wild.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about how maybe you're managing all of this at this point, and like what your day-to-day looks like?
Oh man, our day-to-day is so different.
Yeah, I think it's mainly because of the puppies. Once they get a little bit older, we can have like a kind of normal schedule, but their feedings and stuff throw us off. We have to clean their area, whenever they go. They don't know, they're not trained yet, so.
So they're like having 4 newborns, right?
Yeah, really.
All over
I
again.
tell
Everybody having puppies is way harder than one human.
The first 2 weeks,
It's
it's
hard.
rough.
Yeah, you guys weren't sleeping. You guys were up every 2 hours feeding them. I remember your stories on Instagram. And you guys had like a whole like chart of like their feeding times. You guys couldn't go anywhere. In the midst of it all, you were trying to launch, your podcast. Now we finally got you in studio because you can leave them for only up to 2 hours, right? So that's a lot. That's a lot to handle. How long have you guys been married for?
Too damn long. No, 18 years.
In those 18 years, a lot of the times it sounds like you guys take a lot of risk. So which one is riskier? Are you guys all in all the time, or how does this dynamic work?
I would say like going all in on a certain subject, that's kind of like what I get kind of risky on that. Like if it's towards something I think's really going to work. And she's more.
I'm all over the place. I'm like, ooh, I want to try that. I want to try this. Like I tried e-commerce, FBA through Amazon, a lot of real estate deals. But it's just, he's always the one that's more reserved on real estate only. So that's where I had to lean in on, that's the common interest that we have. So I figured that's the thing that I think that both of us should be able to go all in. So we were able, it finally took us, we're in real estate for 6 years, but I think right now it's finally the time where we've figured it out. Like, this is what we got to do, because it's a passion. There's so many ways you can make money off of real estate.
And I'm more of like a bigger picture thinker.
Okay.
She only sees like what's in front of her face. If she sees a squirrel running by, she's gonna look at it. So.
I want it as a pet. Let's adopt it. It looks sad. It looks a little
She said,
skinny.
"What if you
I
see
need
a
to
turtle
feed it."
driving while you're driving?" I said, "I'm gonna just keep driving." That's not gonna do it.
How long have you had? How long have you had Big Papa?
We had Big Papa for about since July, I think. So like. 4 or
Wait,
5
hold on.
months.
Let's go back. Who is Big Papa?
Oh yeah.
Big Papa is a 40-year-old sulcata that we adopted. His previous owner passed away, so the friend of the guy who passed away was taking care of it for temporarily. So I was researching because we have a pond in the front of our house. We had so much fish, and so to take care of that fish problem, I was like, "Ooh, let's get turtles," And that didn't work because we still have so many fish and the turtles weren't eating it. So I went down like a rabbit hole of like turtles, like trying to learn turtles, And then I came across like a big ass turtle. So I was like, whoa, I'm like, I want that, So then I found like tortoisegroup.org, which is a local nonprofit. I found them, and then I found a flyer, a rehoming section that they were giving away Big Papa. So I was like, hell yeah.
They gave him away?
Yeah, for free, because it's normally a big monster like that would cost $1,500 plus. Yeah.
You said that you weren't going to keep any of the puppies,
That's a
and you were
500-pound
keeping
turtle.
one puppy. You said no more animals, I think, at one of our calls. You ended up getting Tiny Tim.
I know.
How do
And
you know
then,
all this?
because I've been following you, and then you said no more to animals, I think, again on our last call, and now you're hatching chickens.
Yeah.
Like, that's
just
a
bought
whole
4
other
chickens.
babies.
Yeah, we went to Pahrump, and I found out we had 3 roosters and 1 hen, so I was super sad because I wanted like a lot of eggs. So while we were out in Pahrump looking at my brother's land to see if it could be an Airbnb glamping site, we found a breeder out there and we ended up getting like 4 hens. So that's exciting.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how many roosters do you have?
1 rooster now because we
We ate
learned
2 of 'em.
we learned farm to table.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Did you kill them? I didn't get that part.
I know. I did not want to do this like this. It was not in the plan at all. Like I was not planning to do farm to table at all. But my friend was like, "Oh, you could just we'll have dinner," and I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, how was?
Pretty tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't name them, did you?
I did name them.
Oh.
I know.
I didn't know the names.
That's I know. I forget. It was either Wingstop or Bojangles. Or, you know.
Wingstop.
Yeah. So I was hesitant to actually post that journey because I know there's like a lot of Karens out there that would like, you know,
It's still engagement.
yeah. But I feel like it's part of life and it's part of our journey and story. So I want to be fully transparent with everything that I share. Like, you know, so even if it's good or bad, at least it's some kind of form of content.
Well, this and you're farmers, so I think you have full right to be like, you know what, my chicken looks like it's ready for eating, you know, and then you like that's how it's done. So what's the difference between you getting a chicken at the store versus you eating Wingstop
Yeah.
and you know eating a chicken that you've raised and you know what's gone into it. So yeah, I don't think that, I mean, originally maybe they were pets, but I mean if you're farmers and you consider yourself, or maybe mini farmers, maybe that, you know, that's okay, you know.
And how was he? Was he
It was
delicious?
good, yeah. So that whole learning experience was really cool because I was mind blown. Like, I cried because I was like, I'm so sorry. You know, like, I was just so mind blown because I wasn't expecting to do this at all, you know. And so our friend who grew up in that farm lifestyle taught us everything, what to do, how to do it. So
In like a humane way.
yeah, definitely. So I actually did record that, but I did not post it or edit it yet because I'm trying to figure out a way of how if I should even post it, because I was going to make a YouTube educational, because there's a lot of people who like want to learn how to do farm to table.
Yeah.
You know? So
How to kill a chicken
yeah,
for their table.
I know. Yeah.
Because then you also have to like shred, like
Feather,
defeather it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's a whole process.
And we learned how to do it.
Were you
faster.
crying through this whole process of like defeathering it, or was just the
I got over it.
act of killing?
Yeah, the act of killing.
I cried for like a minute, and then I kind of like it, you know, I got used to it. Not used to it, but I guess I got over the initial
Yeah.
shock.
Yeah.
Well, it was just like, look, like we're not killing it because we're being cruel. We're gonna consume it. You know, we're not hunting or anything like
Yeah.
that, just for the sake of killing something.
Yeah.
So I think that's where kind of like the boundary lies, right? You consumed your own chicken that you
Yeah.
raised on your own farm. So that's really, really interesting. So now, this is like far from real estate, right?
I
Like
know.
this is like the probably like the opposite direction from that. But I mean, you are just constantly like diving into one thing after another, but you're also learning, and I think that's also like that's life's a journey, right? You just continue learning and you continue growing and you continue experimenting until you find what it is that, or maybe for you just keep on trying things. So how's that been like for you, Scott? Like just following her lead, or does she lead, or how does that work?
She just makes me do things I'm not really comfortable with, or like she made me step out of my comfort zone as far as like dressing up for Halloween parties at her work and stuff like that, because I'm like super conservative. I don't like attention, any of that, so I kind of got used to it. And like we walked the tortoise, and like everybody's coming by, stopping and talking, which is okay, but
So you've opened up a lot since you've first initiated.
open up. I don't know about open up or just not caring about getting attention.
But I mean, you're on a podcast today. Like
Well,
that.
yeah,
That's a huge step. You know, like that's you
'cause of
going.
her.
Yeah, and that's the hard part too, because we bicker on how much we should share our story and our journey because
very
he's
private.
so private. He doesn't post anything. Like the last time he posted was years ago, right?
No,
like
you have to do that
decades.
picture. The profile
Just
picture.
recently, 5 days ago.
Yeah, but I'm like an open book. I like to share our story because it's so different and it's like not normal, you know? We met online on Friendster and we were chatting
Yeah.
online for like 2 months.
Before MySpace.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I messaged you and then I had to go train for like a couple weeks. And then came back.
He was in the military. Yeah, so we were both living in Hawaii at the time, and he messaged me on Friendster, and we were talking for 2 months, and we met up, and then we got married.
How would you explain it?
I don't know. He just fell in love with me.
So okay, let's go back to Friendster. Okay, so you were on this dating app, right? And then
it's just like
what is it like? You were swiping?
media.
I don't know. I've never been on a dating app,
Like,
so
this one looks easy. I'm gonna try
what was it? What was it that attracted you
I was
to her
right.
profile? What did she say?
I was right.
This is it.
I don't even remember.
I forget what he said, but he was like, "Oh, I'm out in Hawaii. I see you're from the Bay Area. What is there to do in Hawaii or something?" Because I went out there for college and to hang out with my family. But yeah, we were talking for like a week online, and then we officially met in person. Then we hung out for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, and then you left.
Yeah, and then I moved to California. And I thought I just wanted like a fling, like quick fling, you know, like, you know.
No, it's okay.
That's what she thought.
There's no judgment. No.
And then
She knew.
and then he asked me to marry him over the phone. Like it was
I was getting ready to go to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So
Oh, you gotta get it
Yeah.
in, yeah.
Yeah.
when you're young, you make decisions.
So you were the risk taker there. You went in all in, like very
Yeah.
quickly. So really, this is really derived because you were the first one to take a risk, and 2 months later, you're like, I know this is my wife. This is the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with, and you pulled the trigger, like quite literally, like.
Yeah.
And then how did that feel? Because so you had to deploy in 2 months, you said?
I was leaving soon.
It took 7 months, I think, right? Because you were training, and then I moved back to Hawaii. And
Okay, yeah.
and my friends had a bet on us that how long we would last. Like they're like 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, and then we ended up like we kept breaking it, so or like breaking their bets. And stuff. Yeah. So
I think 2 years was a max.
yeah,
And you guys lasted 18 years.
isn't that crazy?
That is so crazy.
Yeah.
And then, so you deployed. How was that
It
for your
was
marriage?
Crazy. Like because we were so brand new to each other, we were still learning about each other. So it was interesting. Yeah.
Gina's having a good time.
Shut up. I was a bartender while he was thing. So yeah, I was in that crazy bar scene life.
Okay. So did you go to Iraq, Afghanistan?
Both.
And you, so, okay, whoa.
He deployed twice. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Three
Like,
times total. While
so
we were
you
married.
lived together through an entire war and an entire pandemic. And you, well, I
They
think
got me
that,
ready to deal with her. So, I needed the training. So.
war and a pandemic to deal with my wife for 18 years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He does. He clearly does.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, it's so funny that you said that she's the risk taker and everything. But honestly, like, you guys are the same because for you to go to war and to be a nurse, you know, a essential worker doing something that none of us knew what was going to happen, that's huge. That I think that speaks volumes to you just like going in all the time. And I think that's where, you know, ultimately you guys are going all in, and you guys go in all the time, not only in your relationship but in your real estate deals, in your family. Like, that's incredible. That's super admirable to see you guys do all of that.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
That's my love
But it's
language.
chaos.
What?
Our life is chaos.
Words
Oh,
of
yeah.
affirmation.
Words of affirmation, yes.
We talk about that all the time here, so that's how I know that.
I tell people don't do that. To not get married so fast. Just because it worked out for us doesn't mean it'll work out. I would say that's a higher risk of not working out.
Yeah, because all of our military friends that were married, they all divorced.
Most
like
of them.
like 90%.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. What is the secret to your happy marriage?
That's right.
No, I had to grow as a person because I was like, I don't know. I had to grow myself. I used to like argue with her just to argue. And I kind of like learned to like just let the little things go.
What made you change, or what made you change your perspective on that?
Honestly, I don't know. I think the kids helped a lot in just maturing as I got older. And realizing like it's not all about what I want. And if there's things that like I annoy her, she might annoy me, but it's mutual. And there's like things like, you know, you just have to see things from a different perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
But you have to come to that realization. I don't know what exactly did it for me.
Yeah, I think just us learning to just grow through life together. And I don't know, I feel like we're just so much, I think it's growth and getting older. You're just so much more wiser. Yeah, so it's just a mindset. I feel like I'm more mature, and I do pick fights with him though.
A lot. We push each other's buttons. We bicker. Like, it's
But
kind of funny though.
But I think you also push each other to be better, and you're growing together. And, you know, as much as like, you know, you say she's the risk taker, you're right there alongside her, supporting her. And you guys are, I see, you know, you're like, okay, well, I'm pushing you to quit your job, but I'm also going to take a leave of absence. Like, we're going to do this little, I don't know if you guys know High School Musical, but we're all in this together, you know, like just being each other's partner. And I think that's sometimes where marriages or relationships lack, is that one is more, we'll say, dominant or more of like the risk taker, and the other one's just along for the ride. No, you both are supporting each other in these journeys, and I think that is huge too. Like, that's what makes it successful. Or what do you guys think?
Yeah.
I think there's times along the way where you start to doubt stuff, but if you keep on feeding into that without trying to fix it, then it's going to get worse. So you have to like address problems, and it's going to take time. So nothing happens. It's over a long span of time.
And you guys are faith-based, aren't you?
Yeah.
So has that helped too in your journey?
Yeah, I had to like force him to go to church.
I didn't want to go at first.
Yeah. So I'm really glad that, and he's like more, I wouldn't say more Christian, but he's more like, it's really cool to see his faith grow, you know, like it's powerful, strong. I can see his faith is so strong that it rubs off on me. Like, I'm like, oh dang, I need to read my Bible every day now, you know, like he's like more, more
I feel like it's just good wisdom that you can keep you guided, having connection with God. It helps keep you, you know, level.
Do you guys put faith in when you do, for example, like, you know, you guys take all your risks? So do you guys pray? How does that relationship go into hand in hand with your faith?
Yeah.
I pray every day, and then pray about things that just as they come up. But I wish I can do it more in situations, because sometimes I get caught up in the world, I guess.
Yeah, so we always have faith into our business. Like when we had the memory care home, we partnered with the Parocs, so they're also Christians too. And we always put that as our pillar into our business. And we would, whenever we had to take care of the elderly, they're like on their last, you know, what is it called?
We offer salvation.
Yeah, so we would,
not try to force it, but just ask. You know, we talk to them about it, talk to the family.
Wow.
yeah, and
We
we
try to offer that.
pray for the residents, and we would even, our staff would take some of our residents to church, so that was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, so we'd always make sure that our faith is always the pillar, you know.
That's incredible. No, and did you get a lot of people, I guess, like when you gave them that option? Did a lot of people take
I would
to
say,
that?
see, I didn't keep track, but
Okay.
I would say a decent amount did. So, like, the business wasn't, like, financially, it didn't do what I wanted it to do. And we still profited, which I can't complain, because some people lose money, some people lose their business. And for us to get out the way we did, I felt like it was
The way to go.
Yeah. You know what's so crazy too is like we had so much time with these residents because we were there a lot, because sometimes staff would call out, or we just wanted to be there in the beginning of opening up a business. So we got to hear a lot of stories from the elderly. I don't know, it was just cool to hear their stories about how they wish they did this or that. And they would look up to us and tell us, like, you guys are so young, you guys are awesome for doing this, you know, you guys are helping us. And they would like look up to us, and I'm like, oh, we're not even doing this. Like, it was a weird, awesome feeling knowing that they were looking up to us, you know, when in reality I was looking up to them because they're, you know, in their final stages. They chose our home to pass away peacefully. And, you know, it's just, it's a surreal feeling, you know, being in that business.
Do you think that had some influence as to why you take so many risks and why you try so many things? Is that you want to do possibly the most out of your life?
Yeah, I always say that I want to do business where it makes an impact. So I definitely, hands down, that's why we got into the memory care business, and because he's a nurse. But even with real estate, people think of as investors as the bad guys or whatever. But in reality, we're finding solutions for the sellers to be able to get out of the situation that they're in. So we're finding solutions, like the guy who we just bought his house, he wants to move. So we're finding a solution, and we found it, you know? So we're bridging that gap to be able to help the community through real estate, which is why I love real estate. Yeah, so I would say the reason why we got into real estate is because there's so many ways you could make money off of it, create generational wealth. And
towards the end of my dad's life, he was getting discharged from the hospital, and we had to find somewhere. And I was like on leave, so I was visiting. So that's where we found out about group homes, but we couldn't afford it back at the time. So he ended up going to like a skilled nursing facility, and usually they have pretty bad care. I don't blame the staff because they have like 16 to like 30 patients for one nurse. So I can't really be mad at them in a sense, but I did hear some things that made me mad. Like my dad would be calling and nobody would come for hours. So I always try to make sure, like I do, like even when as a nurse, I like, if people are calling me, I go.
Yeah.
Just to see what's going on.
Yeah, I'm grateful that my grandmother passed away from COVID, so I'm very grateful that I didn't get to see her, I guess,
and it doesn't always
in those
like
you know, yeah. So COVID was like a curse and a blessing all at the same time. Just the more that I hear people like expressing about like how their grandparents or their aunts or their uncles end up at this memory or like care home, you know, and I always said I would always take care of my grandmother until her last dying, and I didn't care, you know. So that would be my very, very last option. But you know, you just never know, because you know, you have a full-time job, and you know, you have a toddler, you know, you have other things that you have to continue living your life while you're also taking care of somebody who is probably at the end of theirs. I'm super grateful that it never ended up being that, and she ended up passing away from COVID.
So sorry to hear.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
But you know what's another cool thing about our business with our memory care home was that we had charity beds. So the whole reason why we didn't profit every month was because we actually took in veterans who couldn't afford the regular pay, because usually it starts at $4,500 and up for private care at our home. So we decided to take them in at like $2,000 a month, and that cuts a huge profit into what we do. And we paid our staff well above market rate. So I think we ran it more as a ministry. Like we would give budgeting classes to our staff. I wanted them to feel like they're a part of the family.
Right.
It just paid for itself. But I think that was a blessing for us, was being able to bless so many families. And but in the end, because we weren't even trying to sell. And I think that was God's sign for telling us, like, God has a different plan for you.
That's amazing. It's incredible.
Yeah, so that's why I think real estate is the way to go to build generational wealth, because just like his dad, we don't want us to be in that situation. So we're trying to build our future so our boys can learn. They're always with us too. Right now they're watching the puppies, or else they would be here, because I would want them to like see how we're hustling,
Yeah.
So talking a little bit about your boys, you guys said that, you want them to see you hustling and being that entrepreneur mindset. How is that parenting look like?
I think they're starting to get ideas of it, but it's not really hitting them yet. Our 15-year-old just said he wants to work at Chuck E. Cheese because his friend works there. I was like, fine, you go ahead and do that. I want him to see what working this many hours and then looking at your pay stub. I want him to see that difference, so he'll know. But I do talk to him about stuff like, if you make $10 an hour, 40 hours a week, how much would you make a year? And then I showed him, like I told him, for instance, like when we sold the memory care home, I was like, look, we got a big check like this. I mean, it took 4 years, but but there's other ways to make money. It doesn't have to be like go to school, get a regular job, and stay there all your life, because that's what I used to think. I just want to show them there's another way, and they can go whichever way they want.
So did he get the job at Chuck E. Cheese, or did not yet?
No, I don't want him to work. I actually wanted him to work for us. So since he's going to school for video editing in high school, I was like, ooh, I'm so excited, because that's like my jam. I love video editing and stuff. That's where I grew up in. So seeing him have an interest, what I'm interested in, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to give you some reels you're going to work on and edit, and I'll give you $10.50 an hour, or $10.50 a reel, right?
Wow.
That's the minimum wage for Vegas. So yeah, I'll probably give him a little more because he's my son, but yeah.
Thank you so much just for joining me, dive into getting to know you and getting to do this podcast.
Yeah, no, I'm really thankful for you guys, because I was a hot mess when I first joined Pineda Media and AllStar, and we had so much going on. So I appreciate your guys' patience. And it was all a mindset, because I was like, who's going to want to listen to my podcast? No one's going to want to listen. And I was like having so much fear and doubt, and I was judging myself. And I'm like, you know what? I have so much to share, because we both came from similar backgrounds where we didn't have a lot. We didn't come from wealth. My mom was on welfare, food stamps, and Section 8. So like living that lifestyle, me and my mom, we like literally shared a room, and we slept on the ground, because my mom lost the home because my dad went to jail. So a family friend took us in, so we had to share a room. My brothers had to sleep in the living room. So seeing that, my past, I was very ashamed of it, but right now I like take it to full, like I take pride in it, because we didn't come from a lot. So where we are today, I'm really proud, So
Absolutely.
that's the story I want to be able to tell people.
Yeah, that's remarkable. No, yeah. And you have a similar story with that as well.
Yeah, for me, my mom died when I was like 4, and my dad didn't really tell me like she was sick, so I didn't really get it. So I grew up with 2 brothers as well, both older. They would kind of do things with each other, but I was too young. And so it was 3 years and then a 10-year gap. And I was a baby. So a lot of the time I'd be home alone. I mean, my dad was working, so I remember from like 5 years old, I'd be walking home to school and back and be home all day by myself. And then I think that's why I'm so quiet, just because I grew up in that. I grew up alone the whole time. So
trying to figure out what to do, make your own meals, and just
I'm
in
very,
silence.
I have a tendency to I could be by myself and be okay.
Yeah.
And just I feel like that's normal
For you. Yeah.
But and both of my parents passed away 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago. He lost both of his parents, so we don't have that extra pillar of grandparents loving on our kids. So we have to take on that extra role of making sure that our kids are doing well. So I think that's why we try to instill entrepreneurship in our kids, is because we want to make sure they're set up for success.
Yeah. But they have some pretty badass parents. Like that's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's why I want to be able to do this podcast and share our stories to at least resonate with others and inspire others.
But yeah, no, thank you so much for coming in today and allowing me to speak with you guys.
Yeah.
We're grateful.
sure.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.